play.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Am I coming through loud and clear? Say, am I? Hope I am. Well, listen, I'm here today, so we've got some professionalism in the house, boys. So I expect you to act accordingly. When I'm not here, I know how the professionalism goes down a little bit, but I'm here to keep you boys in check. How you doing? Jack, how are you?
Good, John. You're always watching, John. I know you are. So.
Oh yeah, watching.
We keep the standards high at talking tennis. I'm good. I'm good, thank you, John. Being able to keep up somewhat with the tennis, enough certainly to have a very enjoyable chat with you guys. I'm looking forward to this one.
Good, and I guess you're in a slightly better mood than you were a few weeks ago, given that I think we've got some positive news regarding Andy Murray coming back to the practice court. I saw him. Did you not see something from him?
Yes, yeah, I did. But you know how it is. Like, he returns to the practice court, but it means absolutely nothing until he decides to play a match.
I mean, I'm not talking about him winning matches necessarily, but you've got to be pleased that, because I mean, when the injury happened, at least I thought, oh, well, what's going to happen? Will he play the French Open? Will he be okay for the grass court season? Will he be okay for Wimbledon? And of course, most importantly, Damien, will he be okay for Surbiton?
Precisely, yes. That's what I was going to say, yes.
certainly watching that match, I think it looked really bad, but then he kept playing, and I think the post discussion of it wasn't totally alarming. So I'm kind of in the same place, John. I'm expecting maybe he plays the rest of the season or sort of stumbles through it, maybe skips the clay and eventually pulls out of the French. But I don't really think much has changed. I'm not incredibly excited, to be honest. It's a last hurrah of sorts, so I suppose, in a way I need to get excited for that. And any events we can have while he's still here should be savoured, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, let's get into Madrid, where sadly Andy Murray isn't present due to that injury. But somebody who was present, at least for the previous 48 hours or so, was Dominic Thiem. We'll start with him, and we'll probably focus on the men's and therefore the qualifiers for the first half of the show, and we'll have a look at some of the women's results. Of course, the women's a bit mixed in terms of qualifiers.
I have a small issue with that title, by the way, because is Bautista Agut really out in the qualifiers?
Oh, is he going to get a lucky loser?
Yeah, he did get in.
Lucky boy. I will change it. Thiem crashes out. Let's just have that.
Hold on. What ranking is Bautista Agut? How did he get a lucky loser?
80-ish.
Yeah. I thought the cut-off for qualifying was quite high. I'm just surprised.
He was the third seed in the qualies. Second seed was Coria, so the draw was between them. If someone else pulls out, it's going to be Coria next, then Tirante, then Thiem. So Thiem theoretically can still get in as well, but it's he's third in line right now. But yeah, the draw was between Bautista Agut and Coria. He was the third seed in the qualifying.
All right, I'm surprised at that. Wow. Okay.
I think I've changed it. Anyway, we'll see. Fingers crossed it's been changed. But listen, we've got somebody in the chat already. Nerlan, okay, it was always going to be one of our regulars, I guess, to pipe up first. Hi, Nerlan, how are you? And hopefully there'll be many more, and you can all get your thoughts. I want to start with Thiem, but I also want to share something that he told us in the media about 2 weeks ago. When I thought things couldn't get much worse for him in Estoril. He has a really serious question. We'll come to it if it feels.
I thought all your questions, Nurlan, are very serious. I mean, yeah.
I mean they're all something.
Give it a go.
So anyway, this is what Dominic Thiem. Hopefully you can hear this. Let me play this, and fingers crossed we can hear it. What is the biggest difference between Dominic Thiem 2019, 2020, and Dominic Thiem 2024?
It's a different galaxy, right, actually. But it's I guess a bit of everything, I had a little bit more power back then, obviously a lot more confidence. Slowly I was playing the game better, just a bit. I was way more in the I had a way more fluent game as well. So yeah, there are a lot of differences, but I stopped comparing myself to back then because there's no point.
So no point in comparing himself. That was the kind of line I think that a lot of people took. It's a different galaxy was another comment from him. Do you find that quite sad to hear those words, Jack?
Yeah, it's definitely sad, isn't it? And a different galaxy. I love the way he said that. I think the standout word though is confidence. He just doesn't play the shots he used to. You rarely see the same kind of crazy backhand down the line winners. But to be honest, the biggest staple of his game had to just be that forehand, and that was such a rally changer a lot of the time. And nowadays it just doesn't really feel like that. It doesn't feel like he's hitting with the same kind of power on that line. I watched a lot of that match, actually, the Kokkinakis match, and a lot of the time from neutral you would miss, and it's not really something he used to do. So it's not even the ability to kind of turn the rally around, but kind of rally balls at an ATP level that he was missing. So, and that just says to me he's a little tight sometimes, and he gives himself chances and then he kind of fluffs those. And there was a lot of matches last year. I think the standout one for me was the Manarino match, where obviously he'd won so many, 7 or something in a row against Manarino, and he got to a tie break and he had a big point, forehand sort of short in the court, and he fluffs it. And it's these shots where he has a bit of time sometimes. He makes errors where he didn't used to. And it's a very small margins in tennis, and that's all it takes, isn't it?
So many points today where, as you said, we're neutral, and you thought, I guess he can just stay in neutral, but he will want to up the ante. And as soon as he upped the ante, he lost the point. And it was certainly in the second set that I saw anyway. I mean, you saw the first set, Damien, which was probably even worse. At least the scoreline would suggest so.
Yeah, it was pretty tragic. Yeah, some just random backhand drives that land basically in the fence. You've got Kokkinakis, of course, on this pretty fast court as well. And just the serve and forehand being weapons that Thiem does not possess at the moment. I think the worst part about this, though, is simply how last year he was actually better than right now. He was hoping to, have that extended training block to come back stronger, to have, just maybe find something new in his career, try something new, and potentially break out of that deadlock where he was. So around 100, making the slams, not making the slams. But in fact, it seems like he's actually declined in the process. And that's kind of the worst part about it. We obviously got Diego Schwartzman tweet, Final del Viaje, a couple of days ago, and where we put Thiem right now, I think we might be heading into a German version of that tweet relatively shortly if things don't improve. And the last 2 months have been brutal.
Yeah, I think if something will have to drastically change in the next 6 months for it probably not to be his last year on tour. That's how I feel, and these are the words that I'm reading between the lines with some of the words that he said. But I think he even said at the beginning of the year that this could be his last year.
He said it very bluntly when he was taking that break, when he was trying to come back after Davis Cup, when he played that 4-week training block or something like that, and then actually got another wrist inflammation in the process. But before that, he basically said that if things don't improve, which he kind of meant that he's not going to be back to top 50 or thereabouts, if he actually doesn't take any step further from that 100-ish level, then he's going to quit. So at the moment, it is looking likely that he will quit.
Just sticking though with Kokkinakis for now, Damien. He is somebody who does okay on this surface. I mean, for me, Australians and clay, at least historically, I'm thinking of players like Leighton Hewitt, for example, although maybe his game was a bit more suited to the clay, but unbelievably, he won Wimbledon from the back of the court, arguably the first to do so in 2000. No, Agassi did so in the 90s as well. But I don't think of Australians and clay. I think of Australians and hard and even grass. Players like Pat Rafter spring to mind, of course, and Pat Cash. But he's okay on the clay, right?
Yeah, I mean, Tanasi, I don't think he played on clay that much as a kid, even though, of course, he has a lot of European heritage. But, I mean, he was always fine with that super spin-heavy forehand. I mean, it really suits it well. There was that year when he came back in like 2021, was it? Or 2022? I don't even know, but I think 2021, when he basically returned to the tour, and he was actually getting a lot of results in European clay challengers too. I don't think he has a clay problem. I never thought that. And in conditions like in Madrid, yeah, that's kind of perfect for him. Of course, we are basing this mostly on, let's say, guesses, because, well, he's never really played the event that much. I mean, only 2 editions before, and he never won a main draw match in them, 2015 and 2023. But everything just fits, definitely. So I think that we've kind of gotten used to this. Thanasi Kokinakis is kind of always in this range where he's one of the most dangerous qualifiers for events like this. That was certainly the case for the entire 2023, I think. And it's not different here. I don't know if he's the most dangerous, if it's Klein, if it's Medvedovic, but certainly Thanasi deserves to be in that conversation. As of right now, I think he actually drew Jack Draper, right? So that's just nasty for both players.
Yeah. Jack, any final words on either Thiem or Kokonakis before we move on to some other results?
Yeah, pretty much what Damien said. Dangerous qualifier, never really somebody I would expect to be the best in the world on clay. Just he's got a big game. Just got a big game, doesn't he? So it doesn't really matter where you are, unless the conditions are deathly slow. He's got a pretty good chance at causing an upset in most cases. Definitely. I was just looking at his French Open results actually as an example, and when he comes against the kind of best in the world, Novak beat him 4-4-4 to nobody's surprise. Those kind of results.
That was his breakout run, right? Like he was like 18 at the time, and that was his breakout run. Actually, the French, people forget about that for sure.
Back in 2015, yeah. And then Nishikori as well wins a set, but then the other 3 are fairly standard, and yeah. So I wouldn't. Madrid's probably about as good as it gets for him, because obviously the altitude, etc., big serves. And stuff like that, but I'm not expecting him to go too far in the back of this, I would say.
Okay. Looking at some of those other results there, Bautista good losing, but ultimately still qualifying as a lucky loser. Did you say Correa, though, didn't qualify as a lucky loser, Damien? Is that right? Or he has?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, he's going to be first in line if there are any more withdrawals. So far, it's only been Dan Evans since the qualifying started, So
and that will be by 11 a.m. Central European time tomorrow. By that time, if there's no...
Well, not really, actually, because in Madrid, you can also get into, or any event with buys, you can also get into the second round straight. So, like, if there's a seed who withdraws by Friday or Saturday, Correa can be into the second round instantly as well. So,
okay.
If Carlos Alcaraz pulls out...
Yeah, I have heard some good comments from him regarding he upped the intensity of his practice, he said today, and the arm is feeling much better. So good news, at least for now, for Carlos, but let's see if he has a setback in the next day or so. I think Rafa Nadal is due to play Thursday as opposed to tomorrow. I think the schedule is out for tomorrow and he's not on it, so he'll be playing on Thursday. But before we get to that, I do just want to talk about 1 or 2 other results from today. I mean, Correa's loss, by the way, is a bit of a surprise, no?
I mean, Damien can tell us more about Llamas Ruiz than I can.
John should tell us more about Llamas Ruiz. I mean, after the story,
Oh, right, yeah.
No, I mean, I don't think it's that big a deal. Again, not someone who can use the conditions too much against the Spaniard. Llamas Ruiz is also like a pretty tricky guy in that, he doesn't have a big serve, but he actually has a pretty nasty +1 forehand game. Like for someone who doesn't serve well, his ability to set up for easy points with it is pretty spectacular. I think he's the best worst server in the game, kind of. That with a serve like this, you shouldn't be able to get so many quick points on serve, but he's actually setting them up consistently. He's got so much talent too in terms of just like the hand skills, and obviously in Nestori he was quite a show too. He made Hubert Hurkacz look like a very entertaining player, which is is quite an ability, that you go out onto the court with Hurkacz and you just really make him look so exciting there. And glad he qualified. I think he gets Klein now, so it's a all-qualifier battle. Well, kind of hope he loses because Klein has just more chances going forward in the event, but that should actually be one of the most watchable matches of, if memory serves right, tomorrow.
Okay, cool. By the way, Jakub Bobro Player of the Week is already out, or at least he lost today to Medvedev. Yes, that's not good news for the Argentinian, but in general, a lot of Argentinians doing pretty well in the top 100 at the moment. Any other results? Gasquet winning, so he's into the main draw, perhaps for his last ever Madrid Open. What else have we had today? Oh, I called this the Battle of the Grandpas, although maybe Montero is not that old. Let me just check his age, actually. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice.
It's like 30 probably, I guess.
Yeah, 29.
Maybe.
Yeah. Although in this,
I hope that's not a grandpa age.
in this picture here on the left, he does look grandpa-esque. I would suggest, with his blown out cheeks there. But Albot is someone that you've called a grandpa. But anyway, Montero winning the more senior level, or senior in terms of age. Nakashima, by the way, he's getting some half decent results in the last few weeks, at least off the top of my head.
Yeah, definite improvements there. Able to just set himself up to kind of rip on that backhand wing a little bit more consistently. I don't know if it's all footwork and stuff, but certainly doesn't look like he's as troubled as he used to be. I think, I don't know, maybe he was trying to kind of lean a bit more heavily on the serve in the past, and maybe wasn't playing quite as patient, but I don't think it's a fluke. He definitely looks a little bit more comfortable. And again, obviously, like pretty much any American, he's probably going to be most comfortable in Madrid out of the big tournaments on clay. So I wouldn't count him out as a little kind of alarm bell upset alert. We'll see. Anybody know who he's against in the first round?
Not off the top of my head, no.
No, I'll have to have a wee check.
Facundo Bagnis, maybe. Facundo Bagnis, I think.
Oh, definitely.
I'm pretty sure it's Bagnis.
That's winnable.
Oh, I mean, he's obviously the favorite there. Yeah, I mean, people just tend to still consider Nakashima a weak clay player, which is just nuts to me. I mean, obviously the guy at some point used to be horrible, but he took these early losses. He really kept playing the European Tour on clay. And he just managed to turn it into not a weakness at all. I mean, by now, I just expect him to be super solid there. Obviously, last year, this was like his biggest run to Lyon. And I kind of have different feelings, actually. I think as he sort of had that huge October, March challenger, well, maybe October, February challenger patch, I think he actually is serving way bigger than before. And this is becoming an even more massive part of his game. Coming up, he was kind of like a return specialist and he was super clutch. Then he kind of lost that. And when he beat someone like Rublev, for example, last week, obviously in Barcelona, I don't think he was relying on the backhand even. His forehand is getting properly heavy. It still breaks down a little bit when he played, who was it, Echeverry later that he lost to. I think especially in all these key moments, you could see that he was just totally snapping into that stroke. His movement was the way he was setting up for it was so unnatural. Obviously, if you have some technical deficiencies, they are going to come out under pressure. But all in all, I think actually there are more and more matches where Nakashima is very comfortable dictating of the forehand. And by now, I mean, I just expect him to have a very solid season. I think obviously he's not going to do anything spectacular unless we are counting beating Andrei Rublev already as spectacular. But I think especially after this match, it was just the moment you kind of realized something isn't really going that well for Rublev, because I don't think Nakashima even had to play, out of his mind. I think he just showed exactly what he can do at the moment. Honestly, the qualifying, I don't even think he played that well, but that's kind of even impressive, right? Just the fact that he's able to get by on this 85%, 90% level. And, he's used that 4-month patch of playing challengers beautifully. Really, showing to some other players who maybe didn't have that sort of humility that, well, it can be done and it can lead to amazing results.
Okay.
Yeah, Damien, any just out of interest names in your head for players who maybe could have dropped down, should have dropped down? Do you want to name and shame a few?
There is one. And,
I know. You mean drop down at challenger level?
I don't want to even go after him
anymore. I know who's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to go after him anymore.
Not Domi?
No, most players are actually no. Thiem actually.
I didn't think so.
Thiem from the get-go, he like showed a lot of like humility about this. He was like ready to do everything. And in fact, a lot of players, like, I don't know, Fognini, Per, were we ever expecting them to start grinding through the tour again? Not really, right? Like, we were just expecting them. Yeah, the first time they're off the money of the main tour, you're just expecting them to go retire, and they're not doing that. On Basilashvili is suddenly like fighting for his life. Per, Fognini, yeah, there are great examples. So actually, there's just one that comes to my mind, and yeah, he's on the screen.
Yeah,
that's totally fair.
I've said enough about it, though, so that's why I'm just gonna.
This is Nerland's question, by the way, which is really an interesting bunch of locations that he's... I think Paris-Bercy for an indoor hard is actually quite slow. Am I right on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Madrid...
Montreal out of these, but it's so hard to compare with Madrid, because if you remember, like when they did all these CPI ratings for the ATP thousands, Madrid actually used to register the lowest out of the 3 masters. So Madrid used to be lower in terms of court speed than Monte Carlo and Rome, but that doesn't take into consideration the way the ball travels through the air, the semi-indoor setting on the main courts even. So yeah, with Madrid, it's just super tricky to rate this. But out of the answers you mentioned, it's probably Montreal.
Okay, I'm going to switch to the women now from today, unless there's any other final qualifying comments you want to make from the men's side, Damien or Jack.
Nope, nothing in mind.
Let's just say Medjedovic, because you just briefly mentioned Comesaña, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he won today.
No, you just briefly mentioned Comesaña, and yeah, I mean, Medjedovic only has played 4 matches this year coming into Madrid qualifying. So yeah, who knows what sort of physical state he's in, but like that's a guy I really could see going far. I don't think his draw is quite maybe, pleasant, but if we get Medjedovic Tsitsipas in the 3rd round, I'm already calling that upset.
A couple of good wins for German.
That's quite a big call. I know that Steph's obviously not had the best year, but any confidence for Steph in the serving forehand?
I don't think it is a big call in Madrid. I don't think it is a big call. I actually think he's more vulnerable in Madrid. The sort of way Jan-Lennart Struff was able to make him vulnerable last year. Like Medjedovic has the same arguments. And regardless if it's the Hečka or Medjedovic, actually, like in the 3rd round, that's a major threat for Steph. Kovacevic probably a bit less so, but Medjedovic or the Hečka.
I won't use that one. We're going to put you back like that. That's fine. Okay, yeah, let's have a look at some of the results on the women's side from today. A very good day for German women, at least. Laura Siegmund qualifying in straight sets. I think that she's actually I've seen her a few times this year, and I think she's having a reasonably a good year so far, particularly as I think she's mid-30s at the moment. But another good win as well came from Tatiana Maria. I was actually just watching some of the highlights just now, and I saw her hit an ace, which is nuts. And she beat Peyton Stearns in 3 sets. Two of those were tie breaks, or she lost the first set tie break, and then managed to emerge there. So and she's into round 2. Keep up the back, everybody. It's very confusing in Madrid, where you have qualifiers, and then just occasional sprinkling of round 1 matches, at least on the women's side. The men's has yet to get underway. That will get underway tomorrow. We'll look towards that shortly. Sara Errani, by the way, that's a win at least for her. Those don't come along too often. I think she was on a very long losing streak until recently. Harriet Dart is through. Pera as well in straight sets. And I saw Potapova against Schneider. I know Potapova is a pretty aggressive player, but at one point I thought the match was in slow motion. That's how unremarkable it was. I was like having to see what was going on with my TV at some point. And I know Potapova is pretty aggressive, but just wasn't seeming to get much purchase on the ball today, at least. And it was a bit breezy. And by Madrid standards, where it can be pretty hot even by the end of April, it seems to have been pretty cool temperatures, given I saw people wrapping themselves in towels today. I mentioned it being a good day for women's tennis on the German side. Well, not for Eala Niemeyer, though. She lost in straight sets to Danilovic. Any results here that stand out for you, Jack, or any players that you think are worthy of a mention?
Yeah, I love talking about Tatiana Maria and the signs behind the slice, at altitude. It's a thing, it's a factor, particularly in women's tennis, where it can be pretty difficult to generate the same pace as the guys off of a low ball. At altitude, obviously topspin loses its bite and slice gains some bite. It's the opposite because of the density of the air, basically. So it's no coincidence that she was able to win Bogota last year, and it's no coincidence again she had a pretty good run, lost to the champion, of course, eventual champion in Bogota as well. I'm not saying she's going to be Madrid champion by the end of the tournament, but she could prove to be a proper thorn in a lot of players' sides. Victoria Azarenka next, maybe not the best matchup for Tatiana Maria actually, but if she manages to get through that, then she could be very difficult.
She does prefer the forehand slice, I think. At least watching her in Stuttgart last week, Elise Mertens was heading towards the backhand a lot more. She just occasionally does decide to hit through the ball, and I asked her about that. She said she probably does it a bit more on clay because she gets a bit more time rather than on grass in particular, where she probably had her best ever result, I guess, getting to the semis at Wimbledon a couple of years ago. But yeah, still, that's good news for her. She's actually into round 2, albeit that she's got a tricky opponent next. Anything else on here, Damien? Any players that you feel as though are set for a good run in Madrid? Because to be honest with you, I'm looking down these women that are on my screen right now, and I'm not thinking that we're going to be seeing many of these going deep.
I don't know, because we actually don't have that many like super strong seeds on the WTA side. So, they might go somewhat deep. It would be probably quite surprising if they like really, made the quarters or the semis. In the qualifying, I guess, there's always the veteran Sara Errani who for some reason can still do it. And maybe, especially if she draws Sorribes Tormo somewhere. She's probably going to beat her. I'm not sure where she's in the draw, to be honest. I was a bit surprised that Timofeyeva lost to Dart for sure on clay courts, even on this clay court. Yeah. I guess that Danilovic-Niemeyer final round was like kind of the main showcase today in terms of just like, two very aggressive players who should love the courts. I remember also that Milan got in as a lucky loser, and she's going to play Osaka. So that might be a pretty lucky loser case, based on how Naomi's footwork usually looks on clay. But I don't know if there's anyone like that truly stands out from the qualifying. Well, Bernarda Pera, I think, if last year was pretty dangerous in Madrid, and of course she's like an expert clay courter too. So maybe her. Just of course not. The form isn't that great, but I think she can always just find it again.
By the way, Haddad Maya is the opponent of who were we literally just talking about? Why is my mind for blank? Who did you just mention? No. After that,
Siegmund.
Errani. Errani.
Errani.
Yes, Errani.
Yeah.
Wow, that's gonna last 4 hours.
Yeah. So there you go. Next best thing after Sorribes Tormo. So, the Brits on clay. Is this a thing yet? I don't know. Like, are they?
With Raducanu, for example.
Are they better than they were before? They did well at the Billie Jean King Cup as well. Raducanu getting a win over Garcia and Parry. Just saying,
some breeds desperately try to make this a thing. I see this on social media a lot. They just desperately try to say, oh, anytime a Brit wins on clay, they're like, oh, they shouldn't be winning matches on clay. We're from Britain, we don't play on clay. But then you have someone like Jack Draper, who was always good on clay, or I don't know, Paul Job wins a challenger on clay. And yet they're still, whenever Paul Job wins a match on clay now, they still say, oh, Brit on clay? How is this possible? I mean, what embarrassment for that South American player who lost to him. So I think some Brits do try to make this a bit too much of a narrative. Then again, if you're looking at someone like Harriet Dart, I wouldn't expect her to win many clay matches. So sure, yeah. But like Emma, Jack, they're just good on clay, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Emma's probably a little bit better than I thought maybe on clay after watching her last week in Stuttgart. I still don't know if I don't know if she'll be ever winning big titles on the surface, but maybe she'll prove me wrong. There is someone I do want to talk about before we leave today and look towards tomorrow, which is Eala getting a win over Surenko. It's her sort of biggest win of her career, I would argue, so far, certainly in terms of main tour anyway. Perhaps I think she won a junior US Open, so you might counter with that. But of course, she's a graduate from the Rafa Nadal Academy, flying the flag very much for the Philippines. So we'll see if she can go far in this tournament. And of course, it was a year ago where we had Mira Andreeva similarly have a breakout run. I think she beat 2 big players from memory. I know she beat
I know it was
Canadian Fernandez.
Haddad Maya, so
Yeah,
Haddad Maya for sure, and Magdalinette, I think as well. I don't know if Magdalinette counts
big
as a
player. Big player, Damien. Yeah.
I mean, if Fernandez counts, then
No, come on. Fernandez is a bigger player than that.
Actually, who has a higher career high ranking?
No, but that's not the point.
I'm not
that's
sure.
Not the point. One of them made a US
No,
Open
actually,
final,
it's
one
still
of them
Eala, right?
didn't.
It's still Eala, right? I think Eala was in the top 15. Yeah.
Fernandez is a household name.
Magdalinette made the Australian Open semi-finals.
Yeah, I mean, but who did she beat on the way? Vekic, I think that was about it. I could even have that wrong. No, she didn't beat Vekic.
She didn't play Vekic. She played Alexandrova, Pliskova, Garcia.
Okay. Slightly better than I thought. But it's not exactly Leila's US Open run where she's just skittling players like Osaka and others on the way.
It's not exactly that fluke, yes. No, of course, I'm kind of joking. But yeah, these were the 3 wins for Mira last year, yeah.
What do you know, Damien, about Eala?
I mean, other than she's Rafa Nadal Academy, she's also IMG, which is more important even in this case, right? Because that's what got her into the event. And honestly, other than that US Open title, like that's kind of what I've known her as the last few years. Like someone who gets a lot of wildcards, was picked up very early because, well, they see potential in that market, right?
Yeah.
And well, I mean, she's I can see how she can be potentially like quite tricky in the future, you know, just lefty changing directions, kind of Fernandez like actually, if you think about it. But yeah, I think since she was like touted as a massive prospect when she was a junior, mostly I think she also won Le Petit A, so it's like really been a long saga. And to me, she's been, you know, a slight disappointment so far.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, yeah, you know, she's had a couple of years on the Pro Tour already, and she's, you know, it's not that she's not holding up on the main tour. She's not holding up in higher quality ITFs either. So, yeah, it's a good win for her, but for now, she hasn't really ever like shown us that she can do it long term.
I was hoping to see her in. Go on, sorry, Damien.
No, I was just saying that like this is not exactly like the way her career is progressing is not what people were hoping for.
I was hoping to see her in Monastir last year, but I didn't arrive until the second round, and she was already out by then because she lost to Elise Mertens. But of course, Elise Mertens has yet to lose in Tunisia, so that's a tough run for her. At least a tough first round that she had. Jack, any final words? Do you know anything about Eala that hasn't already been said?
No, I don't know anything about Eala that hasn't already been said. I thought I would maybe touch on the comment from Capricorn BG there, just about Mira Andreeva failing to crack the top 30. I do think it's a little unfair. I think actually a lot of the results from Andreeva have been very impressive on paper.
And she hasn't played since Australia much, has she? Was she injured or?
No, she hasn't, exactly. I mean, she's played 3 events since Australia, Dubai, Indian Wells and Rouen. So I would maybe dismiss that. And obviously she's had to come through qualifying pretty much every event. She played post Madrid up till about October or so. I'm even looking then actually still had to do it for Beijing. And she's coming through qualifying pretty much every time she's playing. So obviously she's playing more matches. Then she, you know, maybe lacks the experience to win more than 2 matches in a row. But in the main draw, and even then she did at Wimbledon, she did in Beijing, she did in Australia. Yeah, I would not be worried about Andreeva doing great things for sure. Also still very young, big asterisk over that fact. You know, she's still 17 years old. So it's 16
still 16 actually.
16 years old, sorry.
She's gonna turn 17 in 6 days. Last year she did have that birthday during the event. I can't remember which match it was, but yeah.
I realise also that comment might not actually be negative. It's more just a fact, I guess. It's true.
Yeah.
It seems a little negative, but yeah, it might not be.
Yeah.
Raducanu is playing a lucky loser, Dexter is asking, because she was going to play Pliskova, but Pliskova's fallen out through, or withdrawn, sorry, through injury. Swana, great question. Will she get cake? One would hope so, because of course it's a year since we had cake gate over the size of Tarnis's cake compared
Not
to
this again. Not this
Arenas.
again. But I guess
Yeah,
that means Sabalenka and Alcaraz will again be having their birthday during the event. So
Yeah, I guess so. So we'll
their
have to.
birthdays. Yeah.
You'll have to get the tape
Maybe
measure
Arena
out.
is not in the event by then. Like that's possible, right?
Yeah.
Alcaraz might not be at the event by then as well. I mean, they have their birthdays on the 5th, so that's actually quite a long way from here. No, the
Okay.
5th is actually even Monday after the event, right?
Oh,
I think
okay.
so. No, it's
maybe-
Sunday. So it's the last
Just-
day. Yeah.
It's the day of the men's final, but not. So yeah. Well, anyway, so therefore we probably won't
well, that's just
have an
the
issue.
yeah.
Yeah, we won't have an issue. Dexter's asking who the lucky loser is. Well, I tell you what, let's have a look towards the tennis tomorrow. Emma Raducanu is playing, I think, tomorrow, Dexter. So we'll address basically your questions in a second.
Maria Carl, the
Okay,
Argentinian who recently broke the top 100.
Let's begin with the women. Actually, we'll stick with them now, especially as we have had that Raducanu question. Looking at some of these matches tomorrow, we've got Sorribes Tormo, everyone's favorite pusher, against Pera. Or is that tomorrow? Yes, I think so.
John, can you just put on a normal schedule on the screen, and then we will avoid all these like, is this tomorrow? Is this not tomorrow?
No, this is tomorrow, and I can see it's tomorrow, Wednesday, the 24th of April. Google is updated. You want me to go to the official website, right?
Whatever, like anywhere. You have like 5 places where you can get the PDF or just a normal schedule, and they will all just work much better than this, and they will show us, which court after which and stuff.
It's going to take me a few minutes, but okay. I can do this.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
going to show me Santana Court.
For example, ATP website, yes. And you have everything there. I mean,
ATP website, actually, though, showing some women players, funny enough.
Yeah, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Yeah.
So there we go. That's Manuel Santana. But I just prefer the Google one because it starts at 10 a.m. and works on from there.
But these matches weren't at 10 a.m. Nothing starts at 10 a.m.
11 a.m.
No, actually on Google somewhere on 10 a.m. because that's BS, they were still in like placeholder times.
No.
That's why you should never do this. They
start at 11, then you got 12:15.
No, when you're showing WTA, when you're showing WTA.
Okay. Anyway, okay. So matches tomorrow of interest. Like there you go, 11 o'clock. Somebody asking, so who's Raducanu playing again?
Maria Carl.
Yeah, Maria Carla, yeah. Mira Andreeva is in action tomorrow against Taylor Townsend, and probably that's the standout. I remember looking at some of these matches earlier and thinking that was the kind of standout match perhaps for tomorrow. It's actually 7 p.m. Local time, or from 7 p.m. local time. We're actually going to have quite a lot of tennis on the channel tomorrow. Pretty much, I think we're going to go live from about 11 a.m. Central European time, and we're just going to keep going until we've got nobody left to commentate, which at the moment looks like we're going to probably have a good 11 or 12 hours. We'll probably do a couple of different streams. Nick will probably do one in the evening. I'll do one in the daytime. So do like and subscribe and join us for all of those tomorrow. But yeah, Mira Andreeva against Taylor Townsend. Is Mira the favorite in that one?
Yeah.
She is, but it's a nasty draw.
Taylor's good. I mean, plenty of power. Definitely the kind of player that could be a banana skin, I guess, for Andreeva in the first round.
She's a banana skin for everyone, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But obviously, Andreeva, the ultimate defender, can get beaten when there's somebody that packs a punch on the other side of the court. But I still fancy Andreeva to win. I'm such a big Andreeva fan, obviously, after watching her at Wimbledon. Maybe there's a little bit of bias there, I don't know, but I certainly believe she'll take the win there. I think unbiasedly.
Yeah, I would go that far as well. See, look, I'm doing more stuff here, and this is just super confusing for me. That I don't know what's going on there. Nerland's going to do some commentary himself tomorrow at the prime time in one of the box office matches. Good for you, Nerland. Townsend played well in Miami. Well, let's see if she can translate that to the clay in the Spanish capital. Okay, anything else? Just any other matches there that stand out for me? That was the main one I wanted to mention anyway, that Taylor Townsend one. And we've addressed the Raducanu question. Donna Vekic against Lauda Siegmund. I guess that's quite nice, especially as Lauda is a friend of the show, as is Avanesian, who's also in action tomorrow against Montgomery. But Dossa hasn't pulled out, but that is a nice, I would argue, a nice first round for her against her compatriot. And Naomi Osaka, you said to me just then, Damien, that she is not a great mover on clay.
Well, I mean, that was quite a saga, of her trying to improve her clay game. Now she's kind of in like this Denis Shapovalov state where like she would like to keep her comeback momentum going, but it's the clay season, so it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in Madrid, she made the quarterfinals here once, but Milhouse says that he likes Alexandrova. Does she play well on clay? Pretty much. I mean, I don't think it matters for her, and Madrid certainly works for Alexandrova. I mean, she took Świątek to 3 sets here last year, right? Didn't she?
Yeah, she's had good results here. If memory serves, she obviously hits the ball big enough that anybody is going to struggle against her in these conditions. So I definitely think massive red alert over Alexandrova if she can get a bit of momentum. But she is one of those players who goes off the boil sometimes. So equally could be defeated in the first round. But yeah,
sorry, go on.
I was just going to say if she does gain some momentum, definitely watch it. Sloane Stephens, were you going to mention?
Yeah, Sloane Stephens. Of course, last week winning a tournament in Rouen, which was getting everybody in a feverish manner, remembering how good she can be on this surface. She, talking of feverish manners, I'm sure Ghosty will be getting very feverish over the prospect of Martina Trevisan in action tomorrow, who is Sloane's opponent. But I would make Sloane a slight favorite there as long as she doesn't have a hangover from that French title run that she had. Everybody's second favorite pole after Damien, Magdalene Net, is in action tomorrow against Elisabetta Cocciarato, which I've probably messed up the pronunciation there. Apologies to all Italians. Just sticking with the women, though. Anything else? Not for me, really. Blinkova is in action tomorrow. I enjoy watching her play. Maya Sharif, who a year ago was picking up 250 when no one was looking. No one has been looking much recently because I think she's been off the tour for one reason or another. I think she's been injured. And as I say, friend of the show, Avanesian in action. I'm going to switch to the men unless either of you got anything else to say about any of these women's matches.
No, happy with that.
Cool. So there was one men's match that I was like, hello, and it's this one. Can you see it, Damien, on the screen?
Well, I don't know which, but I suppose it's Karatsev Marozsan.
It's Karatsev, yeah. Because I don't remember.
It's just
yeah,
like
I saw Karatsev practicing today. When was the last time he played? Someone?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Brisbane.
Karatsev, Brisbane, yeah. I mean, he after Brisbane, he hasn't played. Yeah, he won the second set against Kubler. He fell there and he injured himself for quite a while. This is going to be his first match back. Of course, last year he made the semi-finals from the qualifying, losing to Jan-Lennard Struff, whom he previously beat in the final round of the qualifying.
Yeah.
Hang on, so Struff was in the qualifiers a year ago.
Yeah.
And that's right. And he got through as a lucky loser and then made it all the way to the final. Yeah. Good old Struffy. We like him. But yeah, Karatsev against Marozsan. That could be an exciting encounter, Damien.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Marozsan is the big favorite given the Karatsev situation. But if there's any player who can just like randomly turn it on.
Yeah. Or randomly just not turn up. I don't get excited about the just two big hitters because most of the time it just turns a bit messy. So I don't know. Marozsan, to be fair, actually to be fair to Marozsan, he's a very clean hitter. And he's
got some guile.
I mean, he is fun to watch. To be fair, almost the new Karatsev in a way. So maybe I'll tune into it. It might be a bit of a laugh.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But there are 3 other men's matches there on the screen. I'm sure Damien is not too excited about Botic against Eubanks. But any of those other 3 matches do catch your eye, or any of the other 2, Damien?
Yeah. Sorry, Damien, go on.
Jack.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Mute Shang for sure. It's Mute at the moment's a bit of a story. Definitely like scrapping for his life and actually getting the odd result. And Shang obviously a great player to watch. I think he'll be phenomenal when he really does start to hit his stride. So I genuinely might tune into that one if I get the time for it.
No, that's one of the best ones tomorrow for sure. Just a lot of variety, a lot of lefty skills, and yeah, that should be fun. It's kind of what Mutesh Shelbach didn't give us today, because Abdullah was not really fit to play. So it's kind of like an upgraded version of this match.
Yep, Vukic, Taro, Daniel, Artur Rinderknecht against Shevchenko as well, a little earlier in the day. Borna Coric, it feels like a while since he's been a threat at a tournament. I think he got to the quarters in Madrid last year before losing to Alcaraz.
Wasn't it semi?
Yeah.
Was it semi?
Semi, was it?
I'm asking, but I think
it was quarters, but it might have been the semi. I think it was on the Friday. So yeah, the Friday would be the quarters, I think. Sure, I'm pretty sure it was quarters, and I think it was like 7-5, 7-6 or something.
The Friday would not be a quarter. Friday would not be a quarter.
Okay, not in
6-4, 6-3 semi-final.
6-4, yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I'm thinking of the year before when Alcaraz played Djokovic on a Saturday in a semi-final, but that was when the tournament was a bit shorter. I do yearn for those days once more, but I'm not sure if they'll be coming back anytime soon. But yeah, it feels like a while since Coric has been in the conversation at any tournament. Maybe it was probably a year ago, I guess.
Final in Montpellier this year, February.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Final in Ottinger-Rouveau-la-Neve as well this February.
Jack Draper Kokkinakis is tomorrow, so Kokkinakis playing once again. But as we said, that's a tough draw for both players, I guess. Really, that for me is a 50-50. I might just lean towards Kokkinakis because he's played a few matches on the surface already in Madrid. Yeah. Munar against Borges. Perhaps no one's too excited to see that one, although maybe Borges can reclaim some of his form that he showed a few weeks ago. Didn't he do well just before we saw him in Estoril, Borges?
Won Phoenix again.
Yeah. Okay. Any other men's matches tomorrow that you want to talk about before we bring this to a close? Maybe we'll give some good predictions.
Have we talked about Nadal?
Oh no, we haven't.
Tomorrow.
No, it's not. But I do want to touch on him because he's in the title on some of the things. Yeah, I mean he's playing a 16-year-old. It's probably I think he's got quite a nice draw in general. I'll see if I can bring that up for us actually. But
Alex de Minaur.
I know. De Minaur is the second round, but then after that could be Tiafoe. I mean, listen, he's unseeded, so he could have got Alcaraz in the second round. So he could have got someone much tougher in the first round for sure as well.
Pavi G is all over Twitter.
Oh, I know, just nuts. The problem is, what did Pavi? There was one thing Pavi G said, which was, he's criticizing the IMG thing, which is completely valid. The problem is that he talks so much nonsense that unfortunately the one sensible thing will also get thrown out by a lot of people and ignored. So yeah, pity, but so a lucky draw anyway for Nadal. And by the way, who knows what's going on in terms of him getting, let's say, nice-ish draws, and maybe again Pavici's on something there. But unfortunately, he talks so much nonsense about everything else. By the way, he's actually had he attacked Talking Tennis recently. I don't know if you saw that.
Of course he did. Something about establishment, etc.
Yeah, but what did he used a word that I haven't. Basically, we're all idiots anyway. But I don't remember what the word was exactly. But it was something very similar. Everyone on Talking Tennis is an idiot, so that means you two as well. So not just me or anyone else. But there we go. Pavi G mentioned tick. Back to Nadal draw anyway. Yeah, I know de Minaur in the second round, but yeah, I mean de Minaur didn't pull up any trees after that result in Barcelona last week.
Isn't it going to be easier for him here?
No. I mean, listen, Nadal in Madrid is a non-thing anyway for the last decade or so. So
yeah,
he'll probably go out to de Minaur, I guess. Do you know anything about Darwin Blanche, by the way? Either of you?
Yeah.
Go on, David.
Of course.
Surely.
Go on, David.
I mean, last year, for example, when he was 15, he made the French Open semis. And basically, he's the best of the Blanches, 100%. Ulises and Dali can just hide forever now. We've got Darwin. Now he's a major prospect. Obviously, he got a Miami wildcard as well. I was definitely of the idea that he probably should have gotten qualies because he would have made more out of it in Miami. Here, I guess all the IMG things just went straight to the main draw, whereas qualifying was a little different. But I mean, he's a lefty. He's super aggressive. He just kind of has no right to beat Nadal because I don't think he's gonna play like this. Let's say I don't think he's gonna keep up a steady level enough to win a lot of games. It's just kind of impossible.
You just don't out-hit Nadal on clay. It's not really
and not when you're 16 and when you're still really your game is very much raw and you're not really even winning ITF events and stuff. The last 2 weeks he's been playing in Telde, a couple of 15Ks. Last week he made the semis. I was hoping for a final against Martin Klijan, but he lost just before this final in the semifinals. But all in all, I mean, obviously he's a player that should be getting wildcards. I just don't know if to events like this at this stage of his career, but it's a fun opportunity for him. Just come out, blast the ball. He did play Thomas Mahach on a very big court in Miami as well. Did reasonably okay, I would say. I think he won 6 games. What can you do at this stage? I mean, you just get a wild card. Obviously, you're going to accept it. You're playing Nadal. Maybe it's the best opportunity ever he's going to get to beat someone like this, right? Probably it is. But I just don't really imagine him hitting a steady enough level to win, I don't know, a set or 8 games. The matches that I've seen from Darwin Blanche so far don't really suggest it. But again, if we're talking about big prospects from the States right now, he's at the top of the list.
Okay. Cool. So that's the sort of mini section that I was referring to for Rafa, but he'll be playing, if he does manage to get through, he'll be playing his conqueror in Barcelona, Alex de Minaur, and then after that will be one of Cashin, Ofner, or Tiafoe, which will probably be more winnable than that one against de Minaur. And then after that would potentially be, if we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves, probably a much tougher opponent. I'm just having a quick look now to see who would be potentially in the 4th round for the 22-time Grand Slam winner. But of course, I can't find it.
Well, the winner was just a second ago.
Yeah, but I clicked on the round of 64 and I can't see it anymore.
Oh, it would be Tsitsipas or Lehechka, right? Unless I'm looking.
Okay. So that's where it.
Medjedovic.
Or Medjedovic, yeah, Medjedovic, of course.
So yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, if Rafa gets that far and then loses, I think that would be a very, very, very good tournament for him. Particularly as I think somebody getting very excited about him serving of the day. I saw the practice. I still think the serve is about 70% of what it could or should be and needs to be if he's going to have deep runs at any tournament. Never mind a 1,000 in a tournament where he hasn't done well for, let's say, the best part of a decade. Okay, Nadal tick. I'm going to go to a bigger picture now and sort of get your thoughts on maybe the tournament as a whole. I'm just thinking on the men's side, Jannik Sinner, and I'm probably going Rybakina on the women's side, but not with any great conviction on either player. I do think that Rybakina should be doing well in Stuttgart, in Madrid, and less well in Rome and in Paris, albeit that she's had good results. Of course, in Rome, couldn't be any better than winning the tournament. Maybe she took advantage of a slightly off colour. Iga, though, I think did she withdraw from that match in the quarters or the semis last year when
she
Rybakina
retired?
played?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Świątek was in control and then she retired.
Yeah.
it was a good match as well. Actually, I remember wondering what the hell was going on.
But I'm going to go with that. I mean, on the men's side, to be honest with you, the reason I'm probably going Yannick as opposed to Carlos, despite Carlos's pedigree here, 2-time champion, of course, is he's still got the arm injury. He lost in Miami to Dimitrov, and I think we are not quite pressing the panic button like we were a couple of months ago, or maybe we never were, but. I think there's just one or two more question marks about Carlos at the moment compared to, and this is his first clay court tournament. Yannick, of course, got to the semis in Monte Carlo recently and really probably should have won that match against Tsitsipas and then arguably the title. So I'll go Yannick and Rybakina. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, Rybakina as well. She has played well, to be fair. I think as well the serve's just going to be backed up here. Any problems that Eala. I'll stick with Rybakina. I think if I believe they're on the same half of the draw. If I got that wrong, actually, no,
they're not.
Opposite sides of the draw. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll still stick with Rybakina. I think the serve just gets boosted. Everything she's doing and other tournaments is going well, and just with that added advantage, she'll have a lot of confidence. She'll just go for it, and I think it's just a little bit too much for most players to overcome. Carlos for me here. I think Carlos loves the conditions here, particularly just assisted in the kick serve department. It's very, very difficult combo for almost anybody to live with. Carlos. Yannick's playing well, probably semi-final or final bound. But I've just got a nice feeling about Carlos in Madrid. I like the conditions for him.
Yannick could make world number one in the next couple of weeks, by the way, or the next few weeks, I should say. I think if he has a good run here and a good run in Rome,
by good run you mean final and a title, for example. By the way,
something like that. Yeah,
that's the sort of results we're thinking of. So it's more likely by Roland Garros, but yeah, it's possible.
Tsitsipas, I put him in the poll at least as a sort of third favorite. Right now, I don't know if there is somebody on your radars that should be ahead of Tsitsipas. I put him as the third option there. He's got a few votes, but most people go in the way of Sinner and Alcaraz. Pretty tight between those two.
Yeah, above Tsitsipas.
I mean, I'm not. There's not any.
Yeah,
Zverev is an interesting shout actually, and I sort of was sleeping on him a bit by A, when I did the poll, and B, just in general. But then suddenly today I was thinking about Zverev, and I think he's, since Australia, has he had a sort of a deep run since Australia? I don't think he has, not sort of semis or final. So maybe he's due something there.
This is historically a pretty good tournament for him, so he obviously loves the conditions here.
If Sebastian Offner got 12% of votes in this poll, that would be pretty funny.
Ruud definitely deserves the fourth spot there. I think Michael's saying after.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to put other, but yeah, I could have put Ruud instead of Tsitsipas. But I just think I went Tsitsipas here, although I don't think he's ever had any great results. Tsitsipas in Madrid, he's never got to the final here off the top of my head, but. I do think that this probably will be the weakest clay tournament for Casper across the sort of, the sphere. I mean, he made the semi-finals in Rome. He's made the French Open final twice. He's won Estoril, of course, made the semis there this year, and he's made a final in Monte Carlo. So he's got pedigree just about everywhere else except Madrid, and I expect that trend to continue.
Also, just throwing Medvedev out there, Klevedev. You never know. After last year,
he's defending Rome. Madrid doesn't matter. He's just going to defend Rome for the first time in his career. But yeah, for Tsitsipas, there's definitely like a bit of a space for them to lose early here. I mean, if they do, it's nothing really, like no harm done at all. Tsitsipas, as we now know, will have a very tough third round if it's like Lechechka or Medvedev. Ruud may be triple Z again in the second round. Kind of a turning point for Casper in terms of his mindset. He mentioned that match at the US Open. Maybe it happens again. I don't know. I mean, definitely a player who can just beat him, if he peaks on a given day. Sure, for sure. Marozsan says Gien, but where is Marozsan in the draw? I don't remember, but he has a very good shot. I think he plays Zverev in the fourth round potentially. So like
Okay.
that's kind of not great for him, but he has a very good shot at getting to the 4th round. And that would be ridiculous because that would keep up that phenomenal 82,000 streak that he has, where basically he's only played 4 events every single time, at least the 4th round, and some ridiculous wins along the way too. So I would love that, but again, Zverev in the 4th round, it would be an upset alert. Yeah.
He's got Cerundolo in the 2nd, Tommy Paul, or potentially somebody to upset Tommy.
Very doable. Cerundolo he's already beaten this year at the Australian Open as well.
Yeah. Depending if Zverev gets there, obviously he's prone to a slow start every now and then. Chorich is a 2nd round, and then Echeverry is a 3rd. Is pretty brutal for him, so we'll see.
Can Casper win a 1,000? Yes, I think at some point in his career that's going to happen, but it'll probably be in Monte Carlo or in Rome. I would suggest rather than Madrid. So that is that. All right, Swiatek had Rybakina nightmares last year, and she's had them again this year, says Capricorn. I do wonder if there might be a Rybakina head thing for Iga, but probably it's more a case of just the fact that Elena's
Let's not overreact this year. Like last year, sure, but like does we really have Rybakina nightmares this year? I mean, their head-to-head is tied. Both matches were super close. Keane, I mean, who is the better American prospect out of Blanche? Because Keane is going on about what I said about like Blanche deserving the wildcards. Like if you're thinking about 16, 17-year-olds, Blanche is not only the best American prospect, but one of the best prospects in the world as a whole. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you want to say Ben Shelton, then like, that's kind of a different generation already, at least in tennis.
Yeah, he's almost an established player now. I don't know if he's got a win.
Maybe you have someone in mind that I'm forgetting about, though.
Okay, all right then. Well, we've got I think we've made our predictions. Carlos and Elena, was it Jack? Is that your pairing? And I've gone for Yannick and Elena and Damien. Did we get a prediction from you? Carlos and Iga.
You didn't, and you want. I mean, when it comes to the men's, it's clear that Sinner is a little ahead now, just because. Oh no, Sean, don't start that discussion, please. Ghosty, thankfully, is not here to to be involved in this once again. Anyway, Sinner is clearly ahead of Alcaraz just because of the recent issues and stuff. Also, I think that the Sinner, basically the things with Sinner that we have in terms of the historical record in Madrid, that's just kind of like random, right? I mean, he didn't play it in 2023. He was injured. 2021, 2022, that's a very different version of Yannick Sinner. And I think in general, the conditions do suit him a lot. So clearly he's ahead of Alcaraz, and they are the two main favorites. For the WTA side, I think statistically, if you like, we're just going to go down to percentages. It's probable that Swiatek still has the highest percentage, but it's like nowhere near to what Alcaraz or Sinner have. And I legit just have no idea. I think I might give you more of an answer if talking about Rome or Roland Garros, where it's going to be more predictable there. But right now,
I know Ghosty got upset with you calling Fonseca a prodigy. By the way, who's Fonseca playing in this event? Because he's an IMG guy as well, so he'll have a wild card, I'd have thought.
Alex Michelsen, and then Cam Nori potentially in the 2nd round.
Okay, there's a potential couple of wins there then maybe for the Brazilian prodigy. I do want to address this though, Michael. Daniel Collins is not winning Madrid. Daniel Collins is not winning Madrid. She won.
That's brave. That's brave.
No, she won that fake clay tournament in North America a few weeks ago, where I spoke to Maria Sakkari about this in Portugal a couple of weeks ago. She said it's absolutely nothing like European red clay. It's just.
But this is Madrid.
I know, but it's still clay. It's still red.
There is a bit of a correlation. There's a bit of a correlation.
Daniel Collins,
but it's closer to green clay than the other.
Daniel Collins is not.
It's closer to green clay than the other.
And she's not even in my thought process. She's not making the final.
I would love it if she won now. Swerna says that Swiatek has a higher percentage, but yeah, that just means she outranks the rest of the field, I guess, for clay Eala, right? They're not trying
Collins
for
is
it to be
not
like clay,
be.
though, are they? In terms of what, green clay or what? In Houston, they kind of are. Like they have European dirt mixed with American hard true stuff. But the other events, no. The other events, they're not trying for it to be like European clay.
All right. On that bombshell, I'm going to bring this to a close. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Damien. Mucho dziękuję. As I was saying to Iga after every press conference, and she didn't laugh once last week.
By the way, I have a question about dziękuję, because sometimes you write it to me in the WhatsApp thing and some groups or whatever. And do you actually like think that this is how it's spelled, or do you just misspell it because you don't care?
I probably don't care, but I'm going to write it as I think it is kind of written, which is something like this. But I actually don't really care.
Yeah, that's how you write it, but that's like nowhere close.
Is it not?
No,
Let me have a
it's
quick
not.
look. I mean, that's kind of how I say it, but I thought I had seen it somewhere.
I figured, but yeah, that's
Oh,
sort of
yeah, okay.
That
yeah.
sort of DJ just would never really happen. Like that's not really a combination of consonants that we ever have DJ, because we have just the DZ basically, and it's different. DZ with a dot, DZ with a this
Cool.
whatever that thing is. But anyway, yeah, that's I don't care. But I was just thinking,
Jack's getting hot under the collar here,
John,
by the way.
Boiling, yeah. I'm boiling.
Yeah, I was just thinking that John probably thinks this is how dziękuję is spelled, and I don't know if I should tell him or not, because he probably doesn't care. Like that was literally my thought process.
And I have to stick to that. I want to get this other one out of my head.
You don't need to, by the way. Like that's I really don't.
No,
care
I need
either.
to stick. I want to stick to this one. I want to stick to that.
You need to stick to this one.
Yeah. And I will do my best to do so. But I flexed some of my Polish words last week with Zelislav and a few of the other Poles that I met. John, you look good at ping pong. Yeah, that's a reference, of course, to that Polish GB encounter we had last week on a mini ping pong table. So do check out that video between.
Keen also could tell you, by the way, that you looked good at tennis, but for that he would need, some sort of a vessel.
Keen said Keen has seen some of the video. Keen has seen some of the video because he sent me a DM on Twitter about some forehand technique.
He was on that stream, right, where you showed it.
Yeah, I think where I shared, I think something on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we've spoken about dziękuję and my forehand, we can sail off into the distance, into deepest, darkest Poland, deepest, darkest Germany, and deepest, darkest Scotland. Unbelievably cold here at the moment, which is ridiculous considering it's the end of April. I imagine that maybe Poland and Scotland is kind of having whatever the opposite of an Indian summer is, a weird beginning to the summer so far for me.
No, heat wave in Scotland.
Oh,
what does that mean? What does heat wave mean?
17 degrees, baby.
I mean, that is odd. That is odd.
It's good.
We're at like 3 or 4 basically every day now. so yeah, we are like Germany in this actual situation.
Jeez,
Cool. All right, we're going to bring this to a close. I'm going to play a silly video at the end, and I'll see you both soon. So cheers for coming on.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję and mucho dziękuję. And speak to you soon.
Ready? Play.
I want one more thing from you, Francisca. Can you look at the camera? And I want you to say, I am Francisco Jorge, and I am a friend of the show. Can you try it?
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend. I'm a wait.
Go. It's okay.
I'm Francisca Jorge, and I'm a fan of the show.
One more time. Can you say, I'm a friend of the show?
Friend.
Like amigo.
Friend.
A friend. So, because we joke, we have players come on all the time. They have no idea, but after they've been on, we say, oh, Eala Ostapenko is a friend of the show. She has no idea. But so if we get you to say, I am Francisca Jorge, or how you say your name, and
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect. Thanks, just want you to do me one more thing. I want you to hold the microphone. I want you to look in the... Don't be nervous. I mean, listen, you've just beaten Eala Ostapenko.
I'm not nervous.
No, you shouldn't be. If you can beat Ostapenko twice in one day, you can do this for sure. I want you to look at the camera and just say, Hi, my name is. Say your name and then say, and I'm a friend of the show.
Friend of the show?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Susan and I'm a friend of the show.
Say your whole name for me. That's the only thing I want.
Sorry.
Surname too. No, you're doing great.
You're
doing
cutting,
great.
huh?
Yeah. Oh, I'll cut it up. Don't worry. Yeah, yeah.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Cool. Thank you very much, Susan.
You're welcome.
Good luck for the rest of the tournament. And I will tag you on Instagram and you can reject. I do have one more tiny thing, which is I want you to look into the camera.
Yeah.
I want you to say your name.
Yes.
And I want you to say, I am a friend of the show.
I'm a friend of the show. Okay.
Perfect, yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.